Hello, welcome to CGTN's online viewers all around the world. My name is Nyima Pratten and I'm here in Singapore tonight. Of course, it's a Friday night, but countries around the world are being affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Singapore is no different, so this Friday night is a little bit unusual. Coronavirus actually first came to Singapore at the end of January, but it was really well managed by the government here. There was a strong tracing, detection and isolation framework put in place, and community transmissions were relatively low. The problem is now, a few weeks ago, Singapore saw a spike in its COVID-19 numbers, and this is because of imported cases coming from new epicenters of the outbreak. So as such, Singapore has now put tighter restrictions within the country to stop community spread of the disease or the virus. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take you around on the first Friday night since the new restrictions came into place. Last night at midnight, entertainment venues closed, religious services were suspended, people were told that they weren't allowed to gather in groups of more than 10 people, and social distancing started to be enforced. So social distancing is meaning that you have to stay 1 meter apart from each other. People now will face fines of up to 10,000 Singapore dollars or even prison time of up to 6 months if they break these rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a walk around and see what this means on the ground in Singapore and how people are reacting to this new restriction put on everyday life. Singapore really continued relatively as normal since January, but now it does seem like coronavirus is a lot more obvious. So if you just have a walk around with me, I just want to point out immediately these markings on this bench. So as I said, social distancing is now being enforced. People are being told that they can't be 1 meter, more than 1 meter in close proximity to each other. So what they've done is they started to go around public spaces and put markings to stop people from sitting. So that's on these benches. That's also in hawker stalls. So hawker stalls are where people go to eat their food here. They're really, really popular and really quite cheap, and most people will go there a few times a week. And what people are now doing in these places, they're encouraging customers to either dabao, take away, so that they don't gather in large areas or groups. And they're also, when people want to eat in, a lot of the tables are attached to the floor so they can't be moved. What they're doing is they're putting these type of tape on every other chair so that people can't sit close to each other. The same's happening at supermarkets as well, so queuing barriers, markings on the floor 1 meter apart so people don't get too close to each other. And we can actually see some more of those as we walk around. So we're at Clarke Quay. Anybody that's ever come to Singapore will probably recognise this place. It's super popular with tourists. In here you've got Hai Di Lao, you've got Haiti, you've got Hooters, you've got everything that tourists from anywhere in the world would resonate with. There's also this bungee jump area, not quite a bungee jump, I'm not entirely sure what you call that, an extreme swing. So it's really, really geared up for foreign tourists. But Singapore has actually shut its borders to tourists right now. So short-term visitors aren't allowed to enter or even transit through Singapore. Singapore's really, really tightened its restrictions actually. So right now the only people that are allowed to enter Singapore are Singapore citizens returning home, Singapore permanent residents returning home, and long-term pass holders. Some work pass holders are allowed to return, but only if they work in essential services like healthcare or transport and are kind of going to contribute to the COVID-19 effort everybody is making over here. So even when these people come back in, they have to do a 14-day stay home notice. And that means that they're not allowed to leave their place of residence for 14 days. They go straight from the airport to their homes. They're not allowed to socialise with people. They're being monitored, and they can also face fines or prison terms if they break these requirements. A lot of people now are stay-home notices. Thousands, we're talking thousands and thousands. So that's also kind of restricting the amount of people that might be wanting to go out in public at the moment, go to restaurants, but bars aren't now closed. We're going to walk up here and see a few of the bars that are closed. Normally, Clarke Quay on a Friday night would be absolutely heaving. There's sports bars, Hooters, as I mentioned. A lot of people will be coming down here after work to grab a drink, talk about their days. Tourists will be here as well. But as you can see, it's pretty dead right now.
Hello? What is it? You can't take any. You must seek a approval from us. Then only you can seek. If not, the CGTN will take action. Okay, ask him to off.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll just walk back out. We'll just go back round.
Off it.
We'll just go
Off
back
it.
round.
Ask him to off, huh? No. Oh, I call the police right now.
So these restrictions are being taken pretty seriously right now, and we are going to be leaving.
Yeah, I talk to you. Ask him to off. No. Okay, no. Ask him to off now. Off. Give the instruction.
I'm giving the instructions.
Give him off. Ask him to off.
It is off. It is.
Ask him to off. Ask him to off. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, anything.
Hello, welcome back CGTN online viewers. Okay, we've now hot-footed it down to Boat Quay. This is another venue that would normally be really busy on a Friday night. You can probably see behind me the CBD skyline. So a lot of workers would come down here, again for a drink, and kind of chat about the week obviously, and get ready to head out to the nightclubs that are just over the water. So as you can see, pretty empty now. So these new restrictions that have been put in place, the social distancing, the closing of bars, of discos, of karaoke venues is really going to start having an impact. It only came in at midnight last night, but small businesses owners and workers will certainly start to feel the pinch immediately. Actually though, yesterday the Singapore government just announced a second stimulus package, coronavirus related. You can actually see Parliament over there, funnily enough, as we're speaking about it. So there's been two packages now to help workers, businesses, just the economy as a whole because of this COVID-19 situation, which isn't only affecting Singapore, of course, it's affecting the entire world, and that's putting a pressure on trade, on investment, on travel, on consumption in Singapore. Singapore is such a small and open economy, obviously. These impacts that are being felt globally, this chaos, is definitely going to also affect the industry here in Singapore. So this new package that was brought in actually takes the total to about 55 billion Singapore dollars, and that's pretty unprecedented. That's bigger than any stimulus package, and that's because they are expecting a recession. I mean, there's going to be probably a global recession, and Singapore is trying to shield its Singaporean citizens from the real fallout of that. But anyway, as you can see, there's a lot of people that might be out of work, especially on this street. If you just look over here, look how empty. It's just closed, it's shut up shop. Now, there are still some places open down here, and that's because they're restaurants. So restaurants are still allowed to operate. As I said, people are being encouraged to get takeaways. People are being encouraged basically just to go to and from work. But if people do want to eat out, business owners, the restaurant owners themselves, have to spread out the tables so that there's 1 meter between each table. And as I said before, people will face fines, or people could face even prison terms if they break these laws. All right, so even though some of these places are open, it does seem like there's not many people that are actually out here partying. So the rules actually came into place, as I said, at midnight. So Wednesday night was technically the last night where people could go clubbing, and there was a lot of pictures in the press about young people going out and having a last wild party night. Of course, people were quite upset with this, that they would be so irresponsible. And initially, the government hadn't put in these strong measures when the spike first started happening a few weeks ago. In fact, gatherings were capped at 250 people, and the event organisers were in charge of encouraging social distancing. But as I said, things have gotten a bit more serious here now. Cases have risen. There's a few more local clusters, local community transmissions. So they have seen it necessary to enforce these strict measures. All right, let's have a look around here. So yeah, people are eating, but the tables are being spaced out. Groups shouldn't be bigger than 10 people. If groups of 11 turned up, what should happen is they're split up into 2 different groups. Yeah, so Singapore still relatively safe compared to other places around the world, other centres of the epidemic right now, but Singapore certainly isn't taking or being lax at all. They're putting in precautions to kind of preempt more community transmission that could happen. A lot of Singaporean citizens are also coming back. Around 200,000 Singaporean citizens might come back, the government has said. So yeah, we're expecting possibly a surge in numbers, but the government is putting in place a plan to try and stop this. And this social distancing, as we're seeing tonight, the shutting of entertainment venues, like I said, clubs, karaoke outlets, that's being stopped. Religious services are being suspended. And as I said, fines or prison terms are being put in place. So this kind of gives you a taste of what is happening in Singapore. There's still a sense of normalcy. People are still able to go out if they so wish, but people are being encouraged not to gather in big groups, not to go out as much, to try and work from home where possible, not overcrowd public transport systems, and try and keep community transmissions down. So I hope you've learned a bit about what's happening in Singapore right now, and I hope you all have a wonderful Friday evening wherever you are. I hope you stay safe and well.